This is the DaringRun Flip 6P. Let's talk about it. The DaringRun is a subsidiary of WinStudio. Whereas WinStudio aims at more of a premium market, DaringRun aims closer to the budget and entry level. So the DaringRun 6P actually starts at $150 US. And honestly, the difference between the DaringRun Flip 6P quality versus the WinStudio Windex 80 is just the back weight. The anodization of the case is honestly very comparable between the Flip 6P and the Windex 80. It is incredibly smooth, is very consistent, and the color is beautiful. The unit I received here is a dark gold edition, and I honestly love it. It's like a dark champagne color to it, and I got it paired with Kikobo Machinist that's been sent from our friends at Unikeys. The building experience with the Flip 6P is fantastic. They implemented a lot of quality of life features into the board. The magnetic daughter board lets you to be able to put in the PCB in without having to deal with any cables, or JC cables or ribbon cables. And the fact that even the screws on the back case is magnetic, so it makes taking it in and out incredibly easy. And having an easy build experience honestly is helpful here in this case, because one of the main features of the Flip 6P is you can flip the Southpaw numpad to a regular layout numpad. You can switch it from both sides, and not to even mention the numpad can be mirrored with Southpaw or non-mirrored, so you just have a lot of ability to customize here. So the fact that the board is easy to take apart, the board is easy to be able to configure, is a huge plus here. And you can tell when they designed the Flip 6P, they made it to be as customizable as possible. So when they implement all those quality of life features, it honestly brings the whole package together. As something as simple as that sounds, it honestly takes a lot of intentionality and thoughtful design to be able to make that implementation in a way that's easy for the end user. So I really appreciate DaringRun spent a lot of time and effort and honestly thought through a lot of the process to be able to do this. So to flip it, you just basically take the board apart from the back screws on the back, and then you flip the mid plate and then change the orientation of the magnetic connectors, and then you put everything back together and you have a different layout. And not to mention, the Flip 6P also allows you to be able to change your main keyboard format from WinKey to WinKeyless to HHKB, because they also included blockers that you can easily install to change it to however you want. So this board is incredibly customizable. Now for me personally, I liked my board's WinKey because I am a Mac user, so I tend to need all the keys that I can get. So the mounting system for the Flip 6P is what we've seen a lot, especially in a budget entry level boards, or just gasket bean mount. It is quite soft and bouncy, and honestly that's something I really appreciate. Not to mention it is quite bouncy and soft without the need to have flex cut on the plate or the PCB. Personally, I am a fan of that when designers are able to achieve a soft, tight feel without the need to cut into the plate or into the PCB, because this way it can preserve the sound for people that prefer more of a crisper or maybe clackier sound profile for the keyboards. So one thing to know that because the Flip 6P uses a gasket mounted PCB, it does mean the PCB is going to be proprietary, meaning you cannot just stick any random universal 60% PCB into this board because they use the actual PCB as the mount. So this could be an issue for some people that are concerned about long-term support for this keyboard. If you are, I would actually encourage you to buy a spare PCB just for that very reason. If your PCB dies, you're going to need to buy the specific PCB from DaringRun in order to replace it. So stay tuned for the sound test. We always use Cherry MX Black on aluminum plate as a control sound test for all of the boards that we review, so that way you can go back and compare different sound tests with across different review boards that we have done. The second sound test, however, we built it plateless. Now, I need to kind of put a caution here. The Flip 6P only comes with hot swap PCB. I actually had a conversation with DaringRun. Unfortunately, they cannot offer a solder PCB at this point. It's too close to the group buy, but they said they will take it into consideration in the future. I think having a plateless option is honestly a really good idea for a board like the Flip 6P because it is a PCB gasket mounted board. So it's set up really well to make it plateless. It's going to sound really good. It's going to be an incredible soft typing experience. So hopefully DaringRun in the future will consider that and make that an option. Now, why did we do this plateless hot swap? I did notice the tolerance on the hot swap PCB was incredibly good, so I feel comfortable at least giving it a shot. And during my testing, I had no issues with the switches popping out, and honestly, I prefer the sound profile a lot better. However, I will say build that at your own risk because hot swap PCBs are not meant to be built plateless. It needs the plate to kind of lock it in. So here are my thoughts with the Flip 6P. I think this board is incredibly good for our hobby because this board is all about the idea of you can customize the board to your liking. You can flip however which direction you want the numpad to be, whether normal or southpaw, and then even you can change the orientation of the numpad in itself to be mirror or non-mirrored. And not to mention, you can change the layout from WinKey to WinKeyless to HHKB with the blockers. And that's what our hobby is all about, honestly. It's about the ability to customize your keyboard to how you like it, what you prefer. I can see this keyboard being a really good workboard that you take to the office. It sounds good, it won't be too loud with certain build, and the fact that you have a numpad, it really can help you with productivity. One thing I do wish is that DaringRun included a heavier weight. I understand they probably did not do that to kind of keep the price down to make this board more accessible to everybody, but I did hear a slight resonance when I did the sound test with the MX Black on aluminum plate. I don't think it's bad. I honestly really like the sound of it, but I can see how some people may not like the resonance, and having a heavier weight will honestly alleviate that issue. The other part is, like I mentioned earlier in the review, is that I wish they offered a solderable PCB for plateless option because it's just such a great tight feel and sound. And even the fact that they have a non-flex cut and 1.6mm PCB, it honestly just makes the board sound really, really good. Now, for those people that might be a little bit concerned about this board having a little bit more resonant issue, my recommendation to you is get a PC plate and build it with a long pull switch, and I don't think you have any issues with that. So in conclusion, I love this board. I really did. I didn't know what to think going into it, and after building it, after testing it for a week and a half now, I have come to love this board a lot. It sounds good, it feels good when I type on it. So if you like this keyboard, we did put a link down in the description where you can purchase this as an in-stock item from DaVinci. The link will help this channel a lot for us to continue to provide content that you guys enjoy. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for future content. See you next time.